They will be dealt with by the police.
Question number 4, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Tertiary Education, Skills and Employment. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being very poor and 10 being outstanding, how does he rate the government's performance on job creation?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I've given this question quite a lot of thought for the member because I think it does require a considered judgment, as he is, of course, asking for an opinion. On the one hand, the number of people looking for jobs is higher than we would all like. On the other hand, compared with other OECD countries, we're doing relatively well. And of course, we've had to deal with the impact of the Christchurch earthquakes on the New Zealand economy as well as the GFC. The GFC has, of course, resulted in higher savings by New Zealanders, which I think is broadly acknowledged as a good thing. But this has, of course, limited job growth in areas like the retail industry, which is a traditional source of larger numbers of lower-skilled jobs. In terms of the government actions, we have, of course, a comprehensive business growth agenda of 300 different agendas, which will lift new investment in jobs in the New Zealand economy. On the other hand, Mr Speaker, we have seen some people propose some more radical options which are a bit panicky and would in all likelihood do more harm to job growth than good.
Well, what is the point of order?
Length.
Length. It was... Well, no, it wasn't. That was the difficulty. It's not a specific question at all. It's very much an opinion question, but it was certainly a very lengthy answer. I accept that, and I think now we can conclude. Assume that the Minister has concluded.
Speaking to the point of order.
Speaking to the point of order, Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I think the problem is the question, and if, in fact, members keep asking these questions, how does he rate the government's performance, etc., and then ask for a rating between 1 and 10, he could only expect the criteria the government might use to make such a rating would be explained to the House. So I think it would be unfortunate if the question stands, but the answer is constrained.
Yeah. As I said, I disagree with Grant Robertson. It wasn't a specific question. It was a very general question. It sought an opinion. It was a lengthy opinion, but it is now concluded, and I certainly invite... And it doesn't have to have an answer given, a number given in the answer. It's an opinion question, and your own colleague cut the Minister down, not wanting him to complete his answer. The opposition can't have it both ways. Does the member have further...
Point of order, Mr Speaker. This question was accepted, and it begins with the statement on a scale of 1 to 10.
Correct.
So your office has accepted that as a question, and therefore there must at least be some reference to that scale.
Yep, and I appreciate the member's position. I took some advice from the clerk after noting the question, and it is an opinion question that does not require an answer to be given in a range of 1 to 10. The essence of the question is how is the government rate job creation? A lengthy answer was given. There is the ability for the member to ask further supplementaries if he so wishes.
Supplementary question. How does he then explain that 69% of businesses recently surveyed by Ernst & Young rated his government's performance on job creation as average to very poor, or less than 5, or as the Sunday Star Times called it, a fail mark?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, well, the Sunday Star Times has always been a massive fan of this government, but I note from the survey, which had a sample size which interestingly wasn't mentioned by the newspaper, of around 200. I note the survey actually said that 5 out of 10 or better was around 52%, as I recall. There is also other surveys which, of course, the member probably isn't interested in hearing because he likes to talk the New Zealand economy down. And one of them, of course, is the BNZ Business Confidence Survey, which has a net 40% positive for the New Zealand economy. There's also the ANZ survey, which was also very positive about the New Zealand economy. And there's also the quarterly survey of business opinion, which rates business confidence the highest since 2007 at 19% positive.
Supplementary question, Grant
What
Robertson.
credibility does that answer have when the same Ernst & Young survey shows that 71% of businesses rated his government's ability to develop and execute a business growth agenda as being 5 or less out of 10, or in other words, a fail mark?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, again, that same survey said 5 out of 10 or better was 50-something%. So I actually think while we can always do more and while we're always facing the challenges of the global financial crisis and the Christchurch earthquakes, one thing we could be sure is if they surveyed which government would you prefer, this one or the last one, they'd say 100% for this one.
Order. Supplementary question. Grant Robertson.
Which of the following does he think is the main reason that 70% of the businesses have given his government's job creation record a fail mark? 163,000 people unemployed, youth unemployment hitting 30% in the last quarter, a 23,000 person increase in those young people not in education, employment or training, or just the 30,000 jobs that were lost last year on his watch?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I think there are about 3 issues with the suppositions that the member raised there in terms of actual facts. But nevertheless, in terms of the government's business and growth agenda, we're in fact proceeding very strongly. We have just released, for example, the East Coast Oil and Gas Study. We've announced further reforms of the RMA. We've announced the draft decision in favour of the Mackay's to Peka Expressway. We've announced $25 million more in R&D grants. We've announced the mixed ownership model is proceeding, and that will boost New Zealand's capital markets. All of these things in just the last 10 days.
That's right.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Is the Minister aware that only 2 businesses in the survey rated the government's performance on job creation as outstanding? And when will he be calling Cameron Slater and David Farrar to thank them?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
That's a pathetic question. I haven't got any answer for that, that's right.
Question number 5, Dr Russell Norman. Point of order. Question number 5, Russell Norman. Dr Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, does he stand by